Wondered what the heck Bitcoin really is in the eyes of the International Monetary Fund, the IMF. Is it money? Is it property? Does anyone even know?
Well, it turns out the IMF's got some thoughts on this. They're not saying Bitcoin was your typical dollar or euro. It's more like digital gold or, digital baseball cards or something.
Digital baseball cards. That's a good one. So how does this impact a country's capital account or financial standing?
That's where it gets interesting. Depends how countries account for transactions and the platforms enabling them.
And I saw that there are a few options here on how to actually record all this stuff, right?
Exactly. They could treat Bitcoin lending like lending cash, like it is a valuable thing, even though it's non-financial. Or the other option, the one the IMF seems to prefer, is treating it like lending a non-financial asset, like securities or gold.
Treating crypto lending like lending gold. That's wild. So what changes under that accounting scenario?
Okay, think of it like this. When someone borrows gold, we don't automatically assume the gold has changed hands permanently. That pile of gold is still theirs, even if someone else is using it. Similarly, with Bitcoin, no transaction/position is recorded.
Right, kind of like saying, hey, just borrowing this, it's still mine.
Yes, exactly. Even for centralized platforms.
Which means what exactly?
It implies centralized platforms are treated as financial auxiliaries instead of intermediaries. That means the platform helps facilitate the transaction, but doesn't actually take ownership of the Bitcoin in the eyes of the law, kind of like a breaker.
Okay, so no actual position or transaction recorded for Bitcoin in the capital account, if I understand you correctly.
Yep, no change in the balance sheets even. The IMF has taken a position that treats the whole thing more like an income stream, specifically an interest payment on a security.
Wow, so the debate is settled then?
Not at all. In fact, they're putting the whole discussion on the research agenda for future SNA and BPM updates. Because it's also new, there's a lot of complexity the IMF is trying to sort out. Because what about these centralized exchanges? What do they do with the Bitcoin? Do they take real ownership?
A plot twist. What happens if the platform, like some crypto exchange, does take ownership of the Bitcoin?
In that case, different story. The IMF says it is lending cash, which is a loan. The user now holds a loan receivable on the exchange platform.
Right, because the platform is now acting as some sort of financial institution.
Yes, and that little designation there determines whether or not they can be classified as financial intermediaries.
Crazy how something like that can change depending on the platform. So how does the IMF plan to keep up with all this?
It's tricky. The note acknowledges financial reporting standards are still evolving and businesses are inconsistent about their crypto disclosures. Compilers may also face challenges in identifying transactions, residency, and of other data issues.
Yikes. But they have to do something, right? They just can't ignore it. What tools they're looking at?
Data. The IMF is pushing for more consistent and clear ways to track crypto assets, figure out who owns them and where they're moving. No easy task, considering a lot of this stuff operates in the shadows using complex cryptography.
You're not kidding. But it sounds like if countries get on board with this, we'll have a much clearer picture of how Bitcoin and other assets are shaping the global financial landscape.
Exactly. Understanding where these things fit in the grand scheme of things is crucial. The better our understanding, the better we can respond to risks and opportunities that may present themselves.
To learn more, check out the listed sources below.